Insulin resistance is linked to a higher risk of Alzheimer's disease. Some studies suggest that it increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 50 to 100%. Alzheimer's is actually often referred to as type 3 diabetes because of the connection to the brain. One study found that insulin resistance can lead to a 20% reduction of brain size over a 10-year period, which is linked to cognitive decline. Insulin resistance reduces the effectiveness of synaptic plasticity, which is crucial for learning and memory. Insulin signaling deficits in the brain are found to be key mechanisms in Alzheimer's. It can also lead to the accumulation of toxic protein buildup in the brain, such as tau and amyloid buildup, which is very heavily linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. Are you seeing a pattern yet? Women with insulin resistance are at a much higher risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. Why? Because estrogen has been found to play a role in the brain's insulin sensitivity. If you're insulin resistant, you may have a 20% lower life expectancy. High fructose consumption can increase the severity of insulin resistance by 40%. Metabolic dysfunction is a leading factor contributing to chronic disease. Insulin resistance is a part of metabolic dysfunction. 50 to 60% of people who struggle with sleep apnea are insulin resistant. There's a 30% increased risk of breast cancer if you're insulin resistant. 40% of adults who struggle with high cholesterol and blood pressure also show signs of insulin resistance. High levels of insulin lead to increased levels of fat storage, which leads to obesity, which is a chronic disease. You can be more prone to cataracts if you are insulin resistant. 25 to 30% of obese children have insulin resistance. You are 4 to 5 times more likely to develop heart disease if you're insulin resistant. 50% of women who struggle with gestational diabetes develop insulin resistance later in life. By age 45, 1 in 2 US adults will have either prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. 45. 50% of people who struggle with PCOS are insulin resistant. 88 million Americans are pre-diabetic. I am insulin resistant. I'm pre-diabetic. I come from a family that has a myriad of problems, a long history of chronic diseases and metabolic disorders connected to insulin resistance. There are too many people in my family have met their own demise because of this issue. I started a GLP-1 journey last year, and the change that I have seen in my health, I have not been able to achieve in decades. I already have regrets. I regret I didn't start sooner. I regret I didn't get my blood test done in my 30s, in my 20s. I regret I didn't have an awareness at that time. If you check any of those boxes like I did, like I do, then drop me a comment or send me a DM. If you also want to get started on making real change and get on a GLP-1 journey, I can help you. I do have a link in my bio if you'd like to know more. I have a code. I'll put it here. It can save you at least $100 in the beginning. But no matter how you get started, just get started.